Okay, we're now live on YouTube. Okay, let me get some of these media up real quick. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo buddhaya, namo dhammaya, namo sankhaya. So, good evening to everyone in the United States. Sound like, sounds like saying good night. And good morning to all of you across the world: Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. I know that my public online appearance have been quite limited lately. Next week, I'll be doing a Instagram live with a life coach. But tonight, I wanted to make some announcements to all of you, and quite of a quite of a bombshell. That's what Americans call it. Um, After much thoughts and consideration, I have decided to enter into my first retirement as a clinical monk. And I wanted to tell you all what that means with the existing programs that has been going on over the past 8 years, with 5 of those years being publicly broadcasted um, and visible and transparent. Um, as everyone, ooh, my throat. It's really hot over here in Florida. It's amazing what the heat every day down here at 95 degrees does to the human body. So please excuse me if I have to drink some water in the middle of this talk. And, you know, as everyone aware, at the time of this talk, it is August. It is time for students to go back to school. And most recently, my post indicated to the public that we needed school supplies, notebooks, pens, pencils, etc. I think that at least 80-90% of people who have been watching, who have access to my teachings, who have been following, have been at least through middle and high school. So they know that this time of the year and elsewhere, that it's time for students to go back to school, and parents and young parents and people who have children and grandparents. It is to my surprise. Oh, my power bank just died. Let me adjust the power bank real quick to another one. It is to my surprise that uh, there was only one donor, and she donated 20 US dollars. And she labeled it school supplies on my PayPal. Was it PayPal? Yeah, it was PayPal. Or Venmo, something like that. We have already been struggling with resources for the past year and a half, 2 years. I have been sounding the alarm, and I have laid out transparent, very visible, that the school of Theravadins, which is the school that I belong to, which is the school of the elders, we're the longest, oldest, and still continuing school of Buddhism. We cannot ask people for resources, for money. We can't ask people for anything. The only thing we can ask for is a cup of water. And so it's been quite of a struggling and challenging journey over the past 2 years, on or about 2 years, in trying to make ends meet, trying to sustain during the struggles of, first and foremost, all of the monks' needs, myself and all of the monks that have been accompanying with me, healthcare, food, water, shelter, robes that needed to be replaced, fixed, just a lot of issues in regards to the survival of a monk. It So over the past 2 years, I've been scratching my head and conducting a lot of experiment, and some of the question is, what's happening? What's happening in the world, and what is happening in the hearts of the people of compassion? People give out of compassion and deep understanding that such program that caters to student suicide and teen resiliency. So I have displayed overwhelming amount of evidence, the faces of the students, their struggles, their journeys that they have been, and their success stories. I think that I have gone above and beyond the calling of a monk, the calling of any monk, to open such a program that caters to teen suicide. As you all may recall, that I was once a suicidal teen, and that lasted all the way until I was like 25 years old, since adolescence until 25. It's been quite of a rough journey. One becomes a monk because it was a rough journey. One does not become a monk because he, won lottery and lived lavishly and or happily. So I know the struggles of teen life and life of young adults as they try to emerge into the adult world of paying bills, trying to love, um, wanting to love and be loved, um, learning about themselves, spirituality, and trying to just make it, just trying to get by. And let me share with you this what happened over the past couple of days, actually. So I was activated as an interpreter, and so I was invited to a school, and I sat there, and I was able to see the teachers and the students, and it was funny just sitting there. I was just in the student's seat and listening to some of these teachers talk about the syllabus. They had 15 minutes. There's 8 classes, so there's 15 minutes, middle schools. And some teachers were really into what they were teaching, which is science. Some teachers were very straightforward about their policy, homework. It was very emotional. And then I looked to my left, and here's some of my middle school students. And it was emotional because I'm watching them grow, change, and become future adults of tomorrow. And of course, a lot of things go into. Uh, Thank you, Jessica. A lot of things go into our minds as monks, especially when you care a lot, and I care a lot. And I think you all have watched me cry before publicly when talking about students' lives, their struggles, the suicides, and the completion of successful suicides of certain students, and the ones that I failed to reach in time. 3 of them over the past couple of years. uh, so I just couldn't. I sat there, and a lot of voices in my head, and it's like I look at them and I'm like, you better keep this road straight. You better not get in trouble. You better turn in your homework. You better do this. You better do that. Da, da, da. I pretend like they're my own biological kids, and y'all know I don't have biological kids. Um, um, so and then I look at the parents. I'm analyzing all of the parents' faces in the room. I can see it, the struggle for parental supervision, parental guidance, skillful parenting. I see their struggles. I just sit there and I try to meditate, try to absorb everything in. I mean, it's in everyone's face. the back to school is like pop, like right in front of the kids' face, and the kids are like excited, like they don't know what's going on, they can't find their classes, and the parents are just like, okay, can we get this over with so I can go back to work and pay bills? So I keep the light on for little Johnny in the house. Um, so it was a lot of mixed feelings. It's been quite a while since having gone back to, my goodness, middle school. And while the teachers were there, um, what really made it more emotional was they're like, yeah, this is what you need: composition books, pencil sharpeners, binders, dividers. And then on the right side of the board, they were like, this is my wish list, and they needed tissues. They told me that once the tissue box runs out, it's like an act of Congress to get another box of tissue. And I sat there and I was just like, oh no, public schools, they're always needing supplies, and they're always waiting on the parents to um oh, waiting for parents to jump in to help in any way, shape, or form. And in those moments, I looked at the teachers, and there was a mutual sense of understanding and a mutual sense of frustration, because I too struggle getting the necessary requisites to keep my program going. Oh, so it was, I'm telling you, it was such an emotional roller coaster. This is the human sentiment of me and the human sentiment of monks. We don't exempt some of these things that we see in society, what we experience in society. It does bring us to tears at times. And in the story of the Buddha, there were monks who also were arahants, but they also did not exempt from certain human sentiments along the journey. So they too cried. And uh, so I know there's a lot of questions right now on TikTok. I promise I'll try to get to them after this. I just don't want to lose where I'm at. Uh, and so I announced that I need what I needed for my students here. Oh, and then when it came to the disciplining part, it's funny. One of the teachers like, okay, this is not elementary school, this is middle school. So if you act a fool in here, if you get angry, mad, throw things, and behave the way that you do, okay, we're not going to stop here and say, okay, little Johnny, I know that you are trying to express yourself, and it's a healthy thing, but there's a more alternative way to doing it. One of the teacher goes, that's just too much energy for me. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to pick up the phone and call campus security to come get you and write the referral thereafter. And then it makes me reflect on my own disciplining policies within School of DAO. And truth be told, over the past 2 weeks, the police was involved in one of my students. And man, I tell you what, it just did a roller coaster on me in trying to um, discipline the modern day students. And I should say student. There's just only one. And the challenges that's being posed in modern day with the advancements, the unprecedented advancements of their mind, and how they try to navigate slick in a very slick way, and the lawyer in their head that they side with versus in the presence of the teacher. And so it was, and then I reflected on teachings of a Jancha of the Thai forest tradition, and I'm like, Jancha did a great job teaching to Western students. I'm pretty sure the police did not involve in any one of them. And if a Jancha was here, I would be like, venerable sir, venerable father, did you know that I had to call the police on one of my students? um, I'm pretty sure John Cha would shake his head, and I'm pretty sure John Cha would probably question my leadership abilities. And I can assure all of you and Ajahn Chah that I have exhausted all options before the police was involved. But it just shows the enormous amount of challenge and the struggling students at hand and the resources that we don't have to deal with some of these things that happen here locally in Florida. Um, Everyone aware that I am training Venerable Lee, who is a 21-year-old novice, and he is such a great joy because his willingness to learn. He will be, I authorized him to go back to work so that he can afford his ways, his spiritual way. I authorize him to work so that he holds him responsible, productive member of society, and that he takes this path seriously without wasting his time, my time, and all of our time involved. He was supposed to join me, but the kid's been exhausted. And matter of fact, I try to get him up, and he's been out since 9 p.m. And at the time of this talk, it's now close to 12 a.m. here in Florida. You all can tell that certain subjects weigh heavily on me, and it's one must ask, why is Venerable Cheetah up at 11 o'clock at night trying to address certain issues? That's because, well, it weighs quite heavy on my mind. The Vietnam trip is not going to happen because of the current economic crisis that I think all countries are going through right now. Crime rate, economic crisis, all of the factors that we've seen on CNN adversely affect the individual contacts and their agenda in traveling. I get it, just because it costs quite a bit to go overseas. I was looking forward to that as much as all of you. So clearly, a lot of challenges this year. The announcement of this talk means that I am taking less phone calls. And if I do decide to engage in counseling with special cases, imminent special cases, then that particular student on the phone needs to demonstrate clear, concise plan how they're going to remain dedicated and committed in the midst of what we're struggling with in regards to resources and time. The world got to reap the benefits of Venerable Cheetah and the valuable time that have been dispensed over the past 8 years. And luckily, within those times, my parents have been really helping out on my spiritual path, affording a lot of necessary requisites, time, energy, resources, and effort for everything to happen, including the existence of all of the laptops that's here present right now, all of the phones for mobile and on the go teachings, and capturing live moments to share with all of you what it's like to walk the path to peace. So it's a lot to keep things going, and I don't think people ever stop to take the time to think, what is it that Venerable Cheetah is doing? How much does it actually cost? Time, energy, effort, and human resources to jump in there to do the things that he's doing to cater to teen suicide and student resiliency in Pinellas County and for other students across the United States. And blessed are those who took swift and quick actions. Blessed are those who sent CBT books. Blessed are those who sent some of the requisites that we needed. And finally, blessed are those who did the most hardest thing United States people in the US could possibly do, which is to donate money, knowing well that that money goes to books, resources, the coordination of mental health counselors, to jump in to help a student and the quality and delivery of care for that particular student. So it just it again very emotional when I think about the people who have thought about other people. It is a direct act of compassion. Compassion is a subject I'll be speaking about next week, live with the life coach on Instagram. And it's been very exhausting to try to do it all by myself. You all got to watch me in the beginning. So the timeline of my monk life was, I started out in solitude, a lot of silent meditations, public display of meditations. Then I went into clinical Buddhism. You could get to see that journey. And then slowly you see the mitigation and the lessening of assistance and, you know, volunteers, volunteers and paid assistants with me, right? And so at that point, people who've been following for a while should really know he doesn't have an assistant with him. He doesn't have a lot of assistant like he used to with him. We wonder how he's doing this. We wonder how he's picking up all of these phone calls and trying to navigate people who are struggling with addiction, trauma, abuse, suicides, um, anger, and everything that goes on within the human psyche, mind, and state of mind. And it takes special. I think by now it's good to say it takes a special human being to stop and reflect the struggles of a provider, what I have to go through in order to make things work. I've recently, over the past couple of days, I've been getting a lot of phone calls from Canada, people from Canada struggling um, to deal with certain emotional distress. And perhaps they're going to be some of the last people that I counsel distance wise, just because a lot of time now is needing to be channeled towards helping my dad at the office and raising and forming and cultivating the next leader of monk, which is Venerable Lee. I wanted to take this time to talk about a story that my grandmother did. So everyone know that my grandmother lost her husband at a very young age. Apparently, she, I think I shared this publicly before, she was very much, she loved my grandfather very much. Well, he cheated on her and then got shot, and they found the confession letter, or I think there was the letter that he wrote to the chick that he was seeing. So my grandmother was quite heartbroken and never trusted men again, and dedicated her life towards the Buddhist path. She meditated every day. I think she lost her husband when she was like 25, 26, something like that. Let me ask my mom. Bà ngoại mất ông ngoại hồi đó bà ngoại mấy tuổi? 25 years old. She lost her husband. I never got the time to interview her fully. And the only person that I can get good, accurate information is Uncle Two. It's actually Uncle Tu, which is number 4, Uncle number 4. He was adopted by my grandmother. And so she formed him, she raised him, she cultivated him into a carpenter. Vietnam is a very, very poor country. My grandmother at the time was a business owner, and so she owned a couple of houses. She just know how to like put her mind towards business and renting and generating money. And I don't really know much about Uncle Two, And his background, I don't want to dig, you know. It's like, excuse me, can you tell me your life story? I never had the time to do it. Every time when I went to Vietnam, it was for leisure, and I just didn't want to open up any old wounds. Nor do I know how to open up old wounds because I didn't graduate college yet when I was still over there. And oh, sorry, one second. Sư nói được tiếng Việt nhưng mà hiện tại giờ sư đang dùng tiếng Anh để giải thích á. Someone asked if I could speak Viet. So I never got the time to get the full story. But what I do know is by through her so many years of cultivating him, forming him, teaching him to be successful, to be a productive member of society. And then she passed away, and then boom. I mean, before she passed away, he was already working. He had his own business, doing carpentry, putting together tables and chairs and all of the furnitures, and delivering them to local businesses, selling wholesale and retail. So I really commend my grandmother. I never got to tell her that I really commend you, and you're such an amazing woman that you took a stranger under your arms and wings and raised them to now a productive member of society that gives back. He has his own family. He has 2 kids. Again, another emotional story. I now find myself in her shoes. Unbeknownst, that Venerable Lee came into my life during a fundraising. Matter of fact, when he came to the fundraising, which was recorded live, by the way, he was coming off cocaine. He was high coming off cocaine, but was still alert, aware, and intelligent during my fundraising and talking about my programs, the t-shirt programs, how we were raising money through the t-shirt program to continue our program and systems. Then everyone dispersed, and so he came back a month later or so and hung out more, listened more, and eventually dedicated his time. So he's been a monk for 6-7 months now, I think. And I find myself in a position where a lot of patience is needed, more patience, more than ever before, to guide someone who is 21, find a unique way, a lot of energy to explain, to be more in details, and waiting for this human to change. Adhere, and just all the stuff in human change. We know the science behind human change. We are organisms. We are these creatures with a brain. What separates us from other people is the ability to think cognitively. And it takes time for human to change with the existence of a lot of things, pressure to succeed, ADHD, growth and development in accordance to the lifespan and human development psychology. So I have decided to undertake this task. Perhaps it seems very exhausting, and I don't know if it's going to be the first and the last task for this 37-year-old monk. And I'm trying my best that I can. This comes as a shock to all of you because I think people look at me and my face and they think that I'm like 20, 25, and that I would continue serving for a very long time. But yeah, I thought so too. I had high hopes that the people would jump in and help me in this endeavor. I have delayed my own enlightenment, delayed my own peace. I've delayed and pushed aside my own agendas to put the people first, to cater to student suicide and teen resiliency. But it just didn't. It also encompasses adults too. That is struggling through life. It does not limit to just students and adolescents. It was broad spectrum human development from birth to death. What I thought was that people were going to understand and to jump in and help through mass and crowdfunding, that the program was going to get bigger and bigger, that we would have our own meditation place. Um, we were going to have more board members. Just a lot of things that I anticipate that was going to happen, but it didn't. And I'm listening to my own karma. One must have to also pay attention to one's karma to understand what's happening here. What does karma want me to do? And at this point in time, it's safe to say that right now, karma probably wants you to take a break, DAO. You should take a break. So that's why this video is titled Entering into My First Retirement. Now, what does this mean? Because when people hear retirement, they think that someone's going to quit forever. No. Another story I want to share, it was when I was an interpreter for Dr. No, Dr. Watcher staff reached out and tried to literally hunted me down. So I was at urgent care, just trying to hide from people, just because, during that time my grandmother was sick and I wanted my own peace. So I just wanted to work as a medical interpreter and front desk. So I just wanted to go into hiding. Somewhere down the line, Dr. Watcher's office never forgot the impression that I left that office. And so they sent someone to call and really hunt me down. And I'm like, yes, this is me. And they're like, we need you to come and interpret here for patients that needs eye surgery. And I said, okay, all right, I'll do it. Where am I going with this story? It's getting late, y'all. It's getting late. And I just lost my train of thought. This is how you know I'm spiritually old. 37, but like 89 spiritually. So, okay, Dr. Watcher. And then from time to time, I would revisit that, throughout the duration of my career as an interpreter. And I'm like, where's Dr. Watcher? He retired. And then some staff are like, he's semi-retired. He's retired, but he comes back and he works and he takes off and comes back. He jumps back and forth. And I was like, you can do that? What did I know? I was a teen in my 20s. What did I know? So then, by age 26, somewhere down the line, within my years of as a supervisor for a security company, I also stepped down from that position just because it was too much. It was very stressful. So I told people that I'm retiring from the protection industry. I think they were very surprised at age 26. They're like, you're 26? What do you mean retirement? Well, all those years, all those 7 years. Well, actually, it was like 8 years, counting my training with then Hillsborough County Sheriff Deputy Felix Perez. During that time, I had seen so much into the psychology of the protection officers, just the struggles, the mental health. By 26, I was burnt out. I was like, okay, all right, time to get out. I needed to take care of my own mental health. Goodness grace. And I guess I'm one that jumps into any system industry and figure it out quite fairly quickly. What needs to be done, how are we going to fix the problem, what is the problem, and how are we going to fix the problem intelligently and wisely. So, so that's the story of semi-retirement of Dr. Watcher. So now I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm becoming somewhat of a Dr. Watcher. He takes his semi-retirement and he retires from certain aspects of the monk life. I pray and I hope that I have the necessary energy and momentum to keep going as a monk, um, then obviously this is not a good thing. Clearly, right? It's not something to look forward to, especially with the dying, the sick, the poor, the destitute, and the most needy of kids out there that needs his service. But I get it. I realize that I'm not the National Suicide Center. I'm not 911. I'm not a lot of these nonprofits that have hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions of dollars to run their program. I am a small time monk. I had I not touched the TikTok, I would have never had that thing blow up to 1 million followers. But I was never a social media person until I tried that TikTok thing, and then ta-da, and then the Instagram thing, just like everything just blew up, and then now here I am, right? So, but I consider myself as a simple, nice, quiet monk as much as I could. I tried my best. I try to like be me, be true, and stand up for LGBTQIA plus, stand up for human rights, environmental rights, as much as like I put myself out there. I really did. I'm just a visitor on this earth doing the best that I can. And I didn't care if people were going to target me. I get hate messages. I get just all sorts of messages, praise and blame, as you will, during this path. And I didn't care because I'm doing the right thing, standing up for what needs to be done, especially people who are being bullied. Florida has become a hostile state, anti-woke ism, whatever's going on right now. And the mayor of Tampa have already said that, y'all should probably not come to Florida because it's a hostile state against LGBTQIA plus. So we already know where I stand with that. But what resources do I have to stand up to the governor? Can I wage that argument? I can. Should I? I should. But I also need a lot of backing behind me. Picking fights and arguments with politicians that do in fact have money and power. One needs to pick one's fight carefully. And the question becomes, who's going to back you, Venerable Chidao? And no one. A lot of things I thought was going to happen did not happen. And I find myself alone. No different than what the Buddha said, that learn to walk alone because not everyone lasts forever. And learn to walk alone because, learn to walk alone because not everyone lasts forever. And I'd rather walk alone than to walk with fools. No different than what the Buddha said. And I find myself having to do that, walk alone. Perhaps this is not my karma. Perhaps this is probably the wrong time in society. I don't know. Just the causes and conditions did not work out favorably for me. So therefore, I just have to adjust and change with time, and to do my best where I'm at with people I'm with, and the resources that is in fact available to me. So, and also I know that a lot of you will have many questions, but I can assure you that this set the bar quite high. And I challenge, the good challenge is all of the emerging young monks across the world. I challenge you all to try to supersede and beat me, to do as much as I did over the past 8 years in saving the many lives, in inspiring the many people. And I know you can and you will, in fact, supersede me. That was the point. And so never tired of studying and practicing and setting a good example for our humanity. It's just that I'm quite exhausted at this stage right now, and I hope to come back. I don't want to retire fully, and that's quite foolish. They say if you really fully retire, you're at risk for premature death. So those who, any seasoned adults right now, all my elders right now, y'all should keep moving. Y'all should not, take your retirement 401k and sit back with, cappuccino or pina colada and hit the beach. Because if you sit there a little too long enjoying that, there's nothing to look forward to. The despair will come, loneliness will come, and you are treading what research tells us is premature death. So that's why my dad's 72 and he inspires me, because he just keep on working. And so is my uncle, who retired as a detective and then became a bailiff and just keep on working. Um, and I joke around and I'm like, Uncle Joe, you've been wearing that gun belt for like 50 years. Don't you think it's time to hang it up? I mean, don't you have low back pain? But he loves working. He loves serving, and he loves being a part of the good working system. So, what will I do as a result of um, stepping down? Is I like to focus on my book that was at 40% completion. Perhaps the book now will be thicker and bigger than ever before because of all of the clinical experience that I have received over the past so many years. Anyone knows if I changed the title? Well, originally the title was Clinical Buddhism. Then it's Buddhism Now. And I want to go back to the old title and really add a lot of stuff in there. A manual for practitioners, the young emerging monks. We need more psychotherapy. Buddhist monks trained in psychotherapy. We need more clinical Buddhist monks. We need more clinical social workers. We just need a lot more of a lot of things. The existence of AI will create a lot of stress in humans trying to change, trying to make sense of what's going on. The AI revolution, technological revolution, infotech and data tech. There's a lot of changes coming in the forthcoming days. And I just, all of us are racing against time, and I hope to complete the book as fast as I can, as thorough as I can, as careful as I can, and publish it so that, we are going to get ready to cater to the masses of suffering to come, as Professor Harari, Yuval Noah Harari, has rung the bell and alarm to let us know what to expect. We should heed his advice. And the energy will be concentrated in forming, cultivating, and raising Venerable Lee, who's 21, and to make him the best monk the world has ever seen. That's always been my motto: good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and better is best. So it is my continuous encouragement for all of you who've been in the program, out of the program, coming back, to continue studying, master cognitive behavioral therapy, master the Four Noble Truth. And I've left you all a lot of teachings. I will appear from time to time, maybe limited, more limited than comparable to the past 8 years, due to competing priorities and familial, family priorities here. Like my dad's leaving for Vietnam by the end of this month, so I have to, be the assistant director at his office. And so, I'll update you all from time to time. You will see my appearance from time to time. I also like to do more meditation, where we sit in silence. Of course, Venerable Lee. I obviously we haven't been meditating often, because you all would know about it. Because you all know I love doing that, right? Every time when I sit and meditate at the beach, or if there's other monks training with me, I drag them with me, and then I take my little tripods and I put it in front of me, and I share the golden silent moment with all of you, so that it inspires you and the rest of the world to meditate with us and to prioritize meditation. Obviously, y'all haven't seen that for a good minute. So, as a direct result of this first retirement, I like to do that more. I have lost a lot of monastic qualities, some humanistic qualities as a result of being a very strict clinical Buddhist monk, because I need to tame the minds that needs to be tamed. Not all students are the same. Some presents a headache for me. So I have to use all 84,000 teachings to try to like tame them, meet them where they're at with loving kindness, and sometimes I have to crack the whip. And so I've learned so much along the way. I am not perfect, will never be perfect. And so that's why this break is necessary for me to recenter myself and figure out how to deal with the emerging minds of students and people of the current day, of the current modern day age and time, the advancements of their mind, their chitta. So I hope everyone understands um, my continuous encouragement, all of you, to practice generosity in honor of a living teacher, which is me, in honor of a newly retired living teacher, and in order to continue some the novice monk training program. Never stop giving and never stop exercising generosity in regards to doing the best that you can tomorrow when you wake up. Open the door for someone, say nice things, be kindful, be mindful. That's one way to honor the one and only historical Gautama Buddha. It is one way to honor living teachers and teachers who have passed away and became arahants. Ajahn Cha, Ajahn Mun, for example, Ajahn Lee. And I'm still here. Y'all would know when I fully retire. This is just retiring from clinical part aspect of my monk life and career. Um, so as you all continue to practice generosity as consistent with all other religion and philosophy, uh, it will make sure that Venerable Lee gets the education and training in social work and psychotherapy that he needs to serve all of you in the next emerging generation to come. What I'd like all of you to do is to reflect tonight and to reflect where you're at about how our society is changing and what you can do about it. I understand that not a lot of y'all don't have the tools in your toolbox to help humanity that you think you can or cannot. Therefore, for example, our community, our Vietnamese and Southeast Asian communities, they know that they can't help the masses of suffering. So therefore, they channel their generosity and donations to monks who are well equipped, who have established programs to help the masses of the crowd, the poor, the sick, the dying, the destitutes. The fundings goes to all of our requisites, including gasoline, so that we can cater to people who have sick, poor, dying relatives in the hospital, victims of crimes. Some of these people don't have money, nor do we want to ask them for any, and we cannot ask them for money. Cannot ask. This school of Buddhism, Theravada, cannot do a lot of things. We're simply here to serve the people as best, as much as we can. Y'all know, well, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I said it last time, but Venerable Lee and myself, we got scooters now, electric scooters. We're testing out these scooters that can go 18 miles. So if you live here locally, you might see monks on scooters with our robes flying right behind us in an effort to save gasoline, be more energy efficient. And we have to do what we're trying to make it work. And we've walked to hospitals before. And I'm okay with that. In the days of the Buddha, they walked barefoot. We're happy when we have flip flops with the existence of thousands of people with foot injuries each year. So we're lucky we don't have foot injuries. But people donated and we got scooters. So now, scooters, but it's been 95 degrees hot. So we're trying to take care of, we wear these orange hats. You all see me with orange hats. And it's exhausting once we get to, like St. Anthony's Hospital from here down there, or Northside Hospital. It's like 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes scooter on 95 degrees heat in these robes. And by the time and I think some of y'all have seen me in hospitals, like passed out, trying to drink a lot of water. And you always see me find a chair with like the wall behind, so I can like take my nap, so I have enough energy. Being with patients, you have to like be in the present moment, and especially dying patients, you have to like be really close to them, like this close, like, like super close to them, and look at them and help them let go the moments before death, to really tell them, look, you got to let go. Greed, anger, and ignorance, you got to let it go now. And so all of our attention and energy is focused on this patient, like they're going to die. The purple team is there. And when they breathe that way, they tell us this patient is at risk of imminent death. So every time when I get to the hospital, and and I'm like exhausted, and I realize no one's let me in yet, so I like take this like power nap. And sometimes you see me like take the power nap with my mouth open because I'm just exhausted. Because when I get up and I go into the rooms, you cannot be exhausted. There's no excuses for, well, it was 95 degrees. I had to walk here. I was on a scooter, and the car broke down. And there's no gasoline. No, you need to be there for the people. You need to the monk has to put his suffering aside. No ifs, buts about it. And so it's a lot of joy. And I'm not here to complain. Never want to make it sound like I'm complaining. But it's a lot of people don't really understand the struggle of the modern day holy men. Um, so it's just, if I don't talk about it, use adjectives, people wouldn't really know. They just think that monks just go find a tree somewhere and just sit underneath the tree. But clinical Buddhism is quite different, and we have to try our best to do the best that we can in serving the people, the sick, the dying, the poor, the destitute. So I hope, one day that things work out the way that it is, and we have more resources. I can come back to clinical Buddhism more equipped, more resources, more books, more backpacks, um, just more, so that we can do more. And right now we can't do much. We have to work with what we got. And so I know that well, a lot of questions right now on across all of the platforms. But yeah, I'm going to try my best. And Venerable Lee will need to practice a lot with public speaking. So you guys will see Venerable Lee a lot. Of course, I'll be either next to him or in front, which is on the other side of the camera, to monitor how he teaches the Four Noble Truths, meditation. And I'm trying to cram 22 years of experience that I have, education experience that I have, into 3 to 5 years that I have with Venerable Lee. It's only been 6 months. So we got all this time for me to download his mind, and hopefully he absorbs it quick, fast. But he has demonstrated the ability to do that, absorb quick and fast. And he needs to put it into practice. So you all can expect Venerable Lee's appearance more and often and more frequent than mine. And that I'm also conditioning all of you to get used to that, and to also know how to separate the message from the messenger. Venerable Lee is 21. He's young. So he's not going to be like me, right? He's learning his best as a role. I mean, he was born in Korea, but he was shipped here 8 months old. He was adopted. And of course, didn't have perfect parents. So his presenting personality, nature, style, disposition is going to be different than mine. But embrace that, and embrace the new emerging monks. And the more donations that we have, the more resources that we have, we can cultivate more. And I have this great idea of ordaining more people. We don't even have enough robes. Um, when the another monk was here who can really sew, I had to tell him, "Can you sew these monks up for me? I'm sorry, sew these robes up for me." And I handed him like a bunch of robes. And I don't think did I think I published one where we were eating breakfast, and Venerable Lee's monk robes were torn like right here, like, and he was like, "Oh, look at that!" And it was huge. And I told Venerable Lee, I'm like, "Oh, aren't you blessed you are not a woman? Because if you were a woman right now, and that was that big of a opening, it could be quite of a big oops right there in public, right?" So now I have a lot of ideas, and I just can't act on it right now because of due to lack of resources. So, anyways, I hope everyone understands that, and I'm open to questions after this talk. But it's 12:34, and I see a lot here. One thing I like about TikToks, you guys are very engaging, um, and I have only so much time and energy. I swear, if they could, they need to figure out how to like hack my body, so I can just continue serving and not sleep, not eat, not poop, not pee. So I can be like AI and then sit here and just serve the people and answer what needs to be answered. But it's 12:34 here in Florida, and I like to conclude. And again, I'm gonna be here, not gonna go anywhere. That's my promise to all of you. Even if I wasn't a monk, say I disrobe and like wear human clothes, regular lay people's clothes, I will always be here to answer questions for y'all and do the best that I can to cater to each human across the world and in the United States. But y'all just need to know that what's happening in the program. I mean, anyone who's followed for a long time know that this was gonna come because I've rung the bell like a year and a half, 2 years now, with periodic display and transparency in the destitute of resources that we have and don't have. So it just takes a lot of, Oh, and by the way, last thing I wanted to mention, that through careful thought and careful consideration, I have decided to make, and I'll repeat this again. So I'm going to go to the beach and do it because it's nice and serene behind me, with the ocean. But I have decided to canonize all of the donors by virtue as saints, as by virtue of generosity, because I know that it's not about money, by the way, folks. It's not. It's about their act and what they thought about before they acted. And money is like the hardest thing to let go of. It's funny, and money is not real. Professor Harari spoke about this. Not a lot of people believe in God. Not a lot of people believe in Buddha. Not a lot of people believe in religion. Not a lot of people believe in a lot of things. But everyone believes in the concept of money. And he said, let's say this is money, right? Well, here's a $5 bill. I want to give you this. I give you a $5 bill, and can I have a pineapple? You do that to a chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee is going to be like, "Who do you think I am, a human?" How about a banana for a pineapple, and vice versa? But we've been conditioned by our system to believe in money and operate on it, and we have become so attached to money that it is so difficult to let go. I have decided to canonize all of the previous donors as saints by virtue of generosity, because they let go of the one thing that is hardest to let go, in my eyes. May not be in the eyes of other people, and may not be in the eyes of other monks and senior monks, but some of the comments that is attached to their $5 donation, $20 donation, $200 donations, that netted Over the past 8 years, I've received, safe to say, less than $10,000 in donations. So that's a thousand. Hold on, a little bit of $1,150 each year. It's not a lot. It's not a lot for the thousands of students that we cater to. That is a severe destitute. I have already, uh, what is it, consented to a warrantless search. So anyone who doesn't believe that number or wants to, go ahead, search the phone, search the banks, go, have at it, search. It's all there. Hell, I'll go to prison. Go ahead, search. So, very confident in the uniform report, transparency report, in regards to the donations, where it went, where it goes to, rightfully, truly, and just. Um, and so I've decided that literally the list of donors, not that many, probably perhaps 50 people. So they're all going to be saints, because they are examples that we can use more each day for other people to see, because we need other people to give, not to us. We need them to give to St. Jude, to cancer foundations. We need them to give. Not a lot of people open up to give to anybody for anything. And the hospitals, the generosity wall, very small, very small. And some of them even put like $500 donations on the wall, because not a lot of people give, and they don't give a lot. And for those who can give a little, they give a little, and they're recognized for their contributions. And again, another emotional thing is when I look at the generosity wall, and I'm like, we have how many millions in this city, and that wall is smaller. It's literally like, you just take the dimension of this frame that you're looking at here. That's how small that wall is. Go to Bayfront, you'll see it. So, when everything fails, as expected, impermanence, the Buddha taught us, we monks and lay people go back to our practice. We can't worry too much about what's going on outside of us. Return back to our practice. Sit, meditate, breathe, master the art of mindfulness meditation, vipassana. Okay, I don't think I left anything out, but that's a project for me to put the names together and announce the new saints to come. And y'all can look forward to that and be truly, truly inspired. And for those who are going to be saints by virtue of generosity, can feel really good about that, and never stop giving to other places in the world that is much needed, and especially world hunger. So I'd like to conclude my talk. If I forgot anything, I'll probably come back to it, or by and through your message, reminded to come back to it. But I think I've covered everything quite comprehensively and effectively. So again, just more announcement to come. I'm just easing you all into it. It's not like this is the last talk and I'm going to disappear for 2 months and then reappear again. You'll periodically see me at least once a week. Let's say at least once a week, as I'm training Venerable Lee and trying to survive through this wonderful heat here in Florida. So may you all be well, be happy, be free, and always be healthy. Take care of yourself, take care of your mind, take care of your body. May you all be healed and be a great significant source of healing for other people. May you know how to give. May you never stop giving. Okay? And reflect on the Four Noble Truth and the Noble Eightfold Path. Never stop reflecting on the monastic order, the order of holy men and women who always think of humanity and always figure out ways to serve humanity the best that we can. May you know what it's like to support the monastic order, so that our world becomes kinder, nicer, safer, place to live and cohabitate in peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will end each one slowly. Okay.